I'll circle back if there's more I can share with you. But I'll circle back with you if there's more to convey. I'll have to just circle back with you. We can circle back with. I'm happy to circle back with you. I can circle back. I will have to circle back on that one. That's an excellent question. Oh, such an important question. We will circle back with you, and we'll circle back with you. It's an interesting question, but we'll circle back. I'm happy to circle back, but I'll have to circle back with you on it. It's a good question, but we'll circle back with you on this today. We will certainly circle back with you more directly.
President Biden maintaining a breakneck pace of signing executive orders and actions in his first 10 days in office. But his first full week in office showed some early signs of cracks in the administration's armor, both foreign and domestic.
Quite a first week for the new Biden administration. Much of it, as you know, spent using executive orders to undo the previous administration's policies and ticking off just a few of those campaign promises in the process. But some policies actually proved to be much more controversial than others. One after another, a veritable blizzard of executive orders and directives for the new administration. But trying to be extra careful to avoid gaffes at the White House press shop, well, that's taken on a whole new meaning.
I don't have anything new for you on that, and we'll circle back with you directly. I can circle back. I'll circle back with you.
Now, whether that's a tick, a lack of preparedness, or an intentional lack of specificity, which would later have to be defended, the lack of clear answers are growing frustration for many.
In an executive order that the president signed last week, he also suspended a Trump administration executive order that was particularly aimed at keeping foreign countries, specifically China, from interfering in the U.S. power grid. But he suspended that for 90 days in that executive order last week. Given what you said about China today, why did he do that, especially related to something so critical to our national security as the power grid?
I think the president's view on our relationship with China, I tried to do my best to convey to all of you. I'll have to check on that specific piece, and we'll circle back with you directly.
The lack of clear answers are growing frustration for many, as are the administration's increasingly curious diplomatic decisions, from suspending the sale of military goods to U.S. Mideast partners, to the administration's relatively muted response to recent provocations by Beijing toward Taiwan, to its ban on travel to the U.S. from the U.K., Ireland, and 26 other Eurozone countries, as well as Brazil and South Africa over COVID concerns.
But the president, who was the former candidate for the Democrat Party, was quite critical of such action during the campaign. In fact, he called President Trump's travel bans hysterical xenophobia and fear-mongering. And in this tweet from March of 2020 related to the Europe travel ban that he now extended today, he said, quote, banning all travel from Europe or any other part of the world will not stop it. Now, the press secretary was asked about that, but didn't have very much to say about that as well.
And speaking of COVID, blame shifting for failures with distribution and availability has begun to wear thin on many, including those on the left, especially with tens of millions of Americans out of work, countless businesses on the brink, and a $1.9 trillion relief plan that's anything but a sure bet. Yeah, that is absolutely right. Now, backers would certainly push back, and they would argue, Shannon, that the new White House was being aggressive in the use of those executive orders because it wanted to gain momentum where it could, while longer, harder fights over things like the stimulus played out over on Capitol Hill. However, as the New York Times writes in an op-ed, quote, these directives, however, are a flawed substitute for legislation. They are intended to provide guidance to government, not meant to serve as an end run around the will of Congress.